Action. Okay, welcome to Sir Yes Sir. Week 6 wrap up, although week 6 is not yet done. It's being played right now, the Broncos and the Chargers. It's 9:47 here on the East Coast. I've not started watching the game, so don't really know what's going on there. I'll start watching it after the video. We are texting now, the Puffin Painters right now. We're hoping to get a little talk in about the other league. I just was curious as to response time. So it's 9:48 right now. We're texting the Puffin Painters. We're asking him to give us 10 solid minutes, and it's not even that much. That'll end up being just strictly Giants football, Vikings football, and his fantasy league. As far as Sir Yes Sir right now. Well, right now, it seems like we're in the dark right here, but we're really not. See, here's like a dust particle right in front of me, and I know you're not going to see that on camera, but that's what you see here, and we've had to turn off the lights because we've had so many folks talking about what looks like moths and flies in the field of view of the camera, but it's really not. It's just like that piece of dust that you probably couldn't see this time because there was no light, and we haven't quite micro cleaned the camera, but we've cleaned as much as we can without a Q-tip, which I keep forgetting to buy. As far as cleaning the camera, which hasn't probably been cleaned since my mom bought it for me a couple years ago. All right, well, it was a Christmas present that it asked for, well, all that aside, okay? I haven't really cleaned it with a Q-tip since. Okay, and that's much with the dust in the camera. All right, so we texted Payne. It's been about a minute, and I haven't seen a response yet. I just wanted to keep track of that. As far as Sir Yes Sir, lockouts are currently being forced on teams. There are no free agent ad drops with teams that haven't paid. 75% of the league is paid. Okay, the accounts online is paid. 75% of the league is paid. And they paid before the draft. Before the draft even began, 75% of the league was paid. Since then and it was actually somebody's idea. Let's make sure we get paid by week 6. That person didn't understand that 9 of the teams had paid, and that remaining 3 hadn't, and consider I guess unfair to the remaining 3. They haven't paid, so we've locked ad drops for the remaining teams. We've allowed them to edit their lineup. At first, it was all lockouts. We've locked out the ad drop abilities for the unpaid teams, and I'll text them tomorrow morning early, remind them of this, because there's no disadvantage to them for the most part, unless they don't get paid by the time free agency in this league unlocks, which is Wednesday morning, approximately 3 a.m. I don't know what it is. Get your waiver stuff in by midnight Tuesday night. I mean, I say it all the time. All right, Payne has not answered our text yet. Don't want to keep anybody waiting. We do want to talk a little bit of Payne. This is inspired, by Paul Allen. A little bit of cold calling. He likes to do this on his show, which I haven't listened to much recently. And a lot of these webcasts I haven't sent to Paul Allen to go look, because there's a lot of Viking passion involved, and Paul should be aware that some folks in New Jersey are as passionate about the Vikings as we are. The owner, actually, Ziggy Wolf, has a number of interests in New Jersey. He's actually a client of mine. I won't go any farther than that about one industry or whatever. Not him personally, but he's a corporation, blah, blah, blah. And I've never talked to him, but I think I talked to his brother not one time, but not the brother that's involved with the Vikings. Maybe it was a cousin. So I should have asked him if he, the Vikings and tickets, but I, probably would have cost me my job. I'm going to keep my mouth silent in the interim. Okay, we're going to do one cold call here. It's actually, it's a 9:45, but because it's a football night, we're going to do a little cold calling with the Puffin Painters. I hope he's not upset. I'm probably going to turn this volume up. Paint it!
What's up, man?
We're cold calling. You're on the air.
I stole one from Buster, dude.
And you needed it. His team, I think, is okay. I think you know what I mean.
That was a pleasant surprise.
Now, I don't know how Brett's team. You never know how it's going to finish, but you're winning. You're already 6-0. I'll just real quick about before we jump to your league. But I think that I'm already 6-0, but I'm not the class of my league. Steve Kramer is with the Prodigy.
Is he still undefeated? Yeah, he is.
Yes, he's going to take out Bry Riz, who had his best probably week in the history of Bry Riz this week. But no, Kramer's going to take him out, and Kramer's going to 6-0. And, he's got Andrew Luck as his backup, and Joe Flacco, and Victor Cruz, Wes Welker, Vincent Jackson, Ray Rice, Antonio Gates. He's got some talent there.
Yes, he does. That's why he's 6-0.
That's why he's 6-0. He's not first in the league in points. But moving on to that note, I was just actually hanging out with the owner of Slick Vic, and Jerry. It's great. He's a 17-year-old kid who hangs out with me and his dad, his drinking buddy. And I walked into the bar. He's like, "Got my first win." I said, "Dude, well, you kept telling me Michael Vick sucks. When he's fantasy-wise, he really does, and he's going to get it done for you, despite the 12 turnovers. But it's actually, I told him he's not done. In my league, if you get 5 wins, you might make it. So he's totally not discouraged by it.
Yeah, but he's got me next week, and I plan on winning. I'll send him to 1-6 graciously. Welcome to fantasy sports, kid.
Didn't really want to...
You're too young to vote, but you can veto a trade, okay? Consider yourself American.
I think getting 40 points from the New York Giants defense was something that you should be pretty happy about.
Oh, dude, just the fact that I didn't have a quarterback and I beat Buster.
That might be the best win of the season.
That was just, I just know, I hope he listens, I hope this one stings, because you got 10 quarterbacks and I had 1. So welcome to 500 along with me, buddy. Great fucking strategy. Quarterback Depot has given you 3 and 3. Well, I guess it's approved because you win 3 wins a year.
Couldn't be a sweeter victory. Couldn't be a sweeter.
You could have maybe sacrificed like 2 of the quarterbacks and got a little more depth, but he was determined to get every quarterback.
And you know what, Paint? You're a guy that you didn't get much from Steven Jackson this week, but when a team that has Alfred Morris and Reggie Wayne and Tom Brady and Ahmad Bradshaw, Martellus Bennett, a lot of people are selling down on Jared Cook right now. Jay Cutler as a QB2, and Matt Castle when he gets back into the mix. Your team's got.
Done, dude. I got 2 quarterbacks for the year. Castle's done. I should have kept Gabbert.
I have Brady Quinn. You think?
I fucking should have traded him to fucking Belushi's boys for Goodson.
Now, you know that I picked Brady Quinn up 2 weeks ago, Payne. I've had the number 1 waiver pick since before the season started. I picked up Brady Quinn. I got lucky because I happened to read a fantasy report online, and it just, before any of this started, I actually said something to you. And you were like, no, Matt Castle. I think this might even be one of the webcasts. You're like, Matt Castle. I said, when I picked up Brady Quinn, but I think I might have gotten lucky there. Now, he's not my QB2, Andy Dalton, Eli Manning, but I did need a guy to get through the bye weeks. However, at 6-0, obviously I don't need a guy to get through the bye weeks. I mean, I'm going to make the playoffs at this point. I want that bye. That bye is huge.
Hell yeah, man. Now, do you face Kramer this year or no?
I'm sorry?
Do you face Kramer this year?
No. And I was about to text Kramer.
That's
I'm like,
a disservice to the league. That's just part of the scheduling.
It's outside of the division. In your division, obviously, I'm going to face you. Any team, that I'm not, I'm going to face you week 10, so that one's taken. And this year, I wanted my brother week 1, so I took him on. My dad's obviously in my division, so me, my brother, my dad, and you are always going to be the top 3 choices in the rivalry matchups. And my dad being in my division, the alternative choice was Bruce. Now, he wasn't even coaching the team at that point, but I scored 215 that week, so there was really nobody beating me when I put up 215. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So, it's obviously, but I was about to text Kramer, and I'm like, I want you next year. But then again, we're both going to be in the same division next year because him and I are obviously both going back to the playoffs.
Yeah, I think you guys are all mathematically clinched.
So the next thing I really look forward to is seeing you in week 10.
Yeah, if I get to see Slick Vic, if he can enjoy that victory for a bit. But
Jerry all of a sudden was a little enthused about his team. And, he's not too bad. Vic, Bradford, Bolden, Deshaun Jackson, Randall Cobb, LaShawn McCoy, Vernon Davis, Jason Witten, Des Bryant. This team.
There's only one team that can go 1-5, 1-6, make it to the finals. And that's the Puffin Painters. And I'm going to prove that this week.
Payne, I just named a lot of good players. I think that Slick Vic definitely has the ability. When you have Michael Vick on your and LaShawn McCoy on your team, because Vernon Davis and Jason Witten historically have always let me down. That's why I've never drafted them. Deshaun Jackson, maybe the same way. However, that team, with my guidance, traded to get Randall Cobb and Sam Bradford, and just keep an eye on that, because when Bruce quit and I found Jerry and I said, listen, let's make this 4-for-4 trade. He bought it, and that team brought in Bradford, Randall Cobb, and I don't know who else, but those were the 2 more important names in the trade to trade away Adrian Peterson and Santana Moss and a whole crap of other crap. Keep that in mind if that team ever makes the playoffs.
The Belushi boys coming back to earth, baby.
Coming back to earth as we predicted on camera. This is on YouTube history. And I'm going to name the roster right now, but you said that they are who you thought they are.
They are who I thought they were.
We said that when the bye weeks came, he didn't have a bench, but he's good enough to make the playoffs. When you have Matt Ryan and Robert Griffin III, there's no better combination at quarterback that's in this league. I think in any fantasy league right now, in any 12-team, 2-quarterback league, who better combination than Robert Griffin III and Matt Ryan?
You know what? I gotta look at him. I like my Brady Cutler, man. I like it.
Okay.
I think Cutler's going to get better.
Certainly it's not my combo of Eli Manning and Andy Dalton. I mean, as good as I am, I'm not at your level. I'm not at Bocchino's level. But he's got a couple of beasts in Julio Jones and Frank Gore and Marshawn Lynch and Tony Gonzalez. That's actually 4 beastly players. Outside of that, there's not much.
Who does Kramer have next week?
Well, I mean, I'm just talking about Bocchino. Outside of that, there's not much. I don't know who he can name. Denarius Moore, maybe. So, obviously, right now, I think he's playoff worthy, but he might be who we thought he is, and especially you. But now you're talking about Kramer next week.
Who has Kramer next week?
Kramer next week plays Team Buster.
I'm going to root for Kramer here, man.
Now, Team Buster.
I know I would like to catch him in the division, but I would have said if he cracks Buster.
No, Team Buster has Dwayne Bowe and Devon Bess on bye weeks, and he doesn't have.
This week?
Team Buster does not have anybody to replace Dwayne Bowe or Devon Bess this week with, so he's SOL at wide receiver.
He's got 5 quarterbacks. He's got 5 quarterbacks.
Team Buster's going to have to make a move this week. When did I set the trade?
I'm ready to send him a trade, actually.
He's going to have to make a move this week.
I'm going to actually send him a trade.
He doesn't want to fall behind. With me, Bocchino.
He needs a running back, and I got plenty. I got Steven Jackson. Sending him home.
And, I hope shit doesn't hit the fan this week, because right now we have 3 teams that have no ability to pick up free agents.
Oh,
teams, to be named later. There's no need, for, as you can understand from your league, there's no need for that, so.
Yeah.
So I hope that gets taken care of quick. You know what I'm saying? I mean, there's no need for,
Well, unfortunately, I've only received two, 3 checks in my league. Washed.
Well,
but it's just like,
I mentioned, listen.
I think everyone's going to come. I don't worry about it. But I see why you have to put the enforcer on.
I still didn't get full payment from last year. There's teams that didn't come back. And I didn't get paid full from last year. And when I brought it up to, actually, it was somebody else's idea to say week 6. Obviously, you're not a problem, but, because, the leagues, whatever. But everybody else I taught, oh, yeah, no problem. And, so.
You didn't even spend a check and, just they cash it when I tell you.
I told everybody, you get $10, put it away. And I texted people like every week, dude. Anybody who wasn't paid, I texted like every week for the last 6 weeks. I said, you're going to get locked down. Because we're not going to have it. We're not going to have people like Justin Soden. And that's partially my fault to get all sour on the baseball league because he didn't get paid. And, ultimately, the only team that didn't, there's 2 teams that didn't pay Soden. One of them is Brad. And I covered the rest, and the other teams covered, you covered your share. Everybody else is covered except for Brad. And, there's, we're not going to have that anymore. And that's it. And baseball is going to be totally paid and shit before, not before the season, because people have to pay for last year, but this season's going to be paid.
Even if you just send a fucking check and just say when to cash it.
Right, and put away X dollars. I mean, I can do it.
No, but I always send Brad a check.
This is why I have
to give me a few weeks, and then he calls me and he goes, "Is it good this week?" And I say, "Yeah." But if he has the check in his hand, it's a big stress. It's a big stress relief.
Right, exactly. So there's. All that aside, obviously that's a whole separate part of the league that shouldn't really be an issue. And right now we're like the NHL right now. There's a strike lockout situation, as there was 3 weeks ago, but got quickly taken care of. Now we have another one 3 weeks later. So there's. I hope it gets cleared up quickly because we're not going to have it. We have a league of people. I have people that I denied this year that were getting ready for the draft on Monday, and I did tell them on Monday that they were not participating. So and I didn't feel good about that. So
what's whaling? I don't have a computer in front of me. What's Whalen doing this year in your league?
Whalen is 2-3. I just beat him last week. He's ahead of my dad right now, 150 to 123. He's probably going to beat my dad. Yeah,
A lot of 3 and 3s.
He's going to beat my dad. I'm going to 6-0. Just Incredibles is Blake's about to lose to Rob. So Rob's going to 2-4. Bub's Ballers is not done. Blake falls to 3-3. The P-Funks go to 3-3. Yeah, Bokino's down to 4-2. Buster's to 3-3. You're at 3-3. Bry Riz goes to 1-5, but in a very noble effort. Bry Riz is going to break 150 this week easily. But Kramer's up to 174. In the second half, just starting, right? Kramer's the class of the league right now. Where I'm short is at running back. When I'm coming at you at wide receiver, Percy Harvin, AJ Green, Stevie Johnson, Michael Crabtree, and Jimmy Graham, and Kyle Rudolph. It's like I'm coming at you wide receiver. I'm just slugging you. Bam, 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 bam. But, when you come back at running back, and we're only talking about Willis McGahee, Doug Martin, CJ Spiller, Michael LaSure, Michael Bush, Daniel Thomas, Daniel Thomas is probably, not going to do anything the rest of the year. I'm very vulnerable at running back. And I keep calling the fantasy shows. I can't get through. Do I make a move? I think I need to trade for a running back. I think I need to try to get Adrian Peterson from Andrew, from my little brother. Maybe, but I don't need to upgrade a quarterback.
He can't afford to trade him.
No, he can't. He can't. And I don't need to upgrade a quarterback. I need to upgrade a running back.
What is quarterback? What quarterback does he have left?
Buster's got Breeze, Schaub. Here's his team. Who does he still have left? Ryan Fitzpatrick, Christian Ponder. Ponder had a huge week. Ponder scored 25. If Buster had put in Ponder, he might have beaten you.
Him?
If he had put... Oh, no, he wasn't coming close. No, he needed a lot more than Ponder.
He needed another fucking starter lineup.
Well, Ponder scored more than his two quarterbacks combined, almost times 2. Ponder had a huge week. Ponder outscored Andy Dalton. For all my texts to you, Christian Ponder outscored Andy Dalton. Moving on to your league. Christian Ponder outscored Andy Dalton.
At 1 point.
Still, for all the texts to you.
Oh, yeah, because it was up. Florida was 1 point the other way.
That being said, and Paint, I didn't tell you, okay? Not only was it a last-minute move to go the one-way at running back, dude, before the kickoff started, I jetted from my recliner, true story, to the computer to put in Sean Green for Stephen Ridley. I'm telling you, and I'm like, and I thought I should have time. The games were still 2 minutes away from the kickoff. And Sean Green was already locked in.
Some games start, you have to have it before 1 o'clock. You're right.
And I just had this feeling. I'm telling you, it just came over me as I'm sitting in the chair, and I'm like, ah! Ran to the computer, too late. So...
You had him in your lineup when I last looked at it
right.
At 12:30.
Well, I switched. I kept going back and forth, and that is likely to be the difference. I am probably
good. All the way, by the way. He probably would not have beat me, but he benched his best effort. He benched Vincent Jackson.
Josh Freeman had a monster day.
And he played fucking Jeremy Curley. See, that's a man who watches too much ESPN.
That being said...
He puts the fucking Jet in over Des Bryant, watching way too much fucking ESPN.
Stephen Hill, Paint. I might have something with Stephen Hill.
Yeah, down the road or here, but like Jeremy Curley, come on, or Des Bryant.
Slick Jerry was telling me, the owner of Slick Vic, he last minute subbed Jason Witten for Des Bryant. And he was killing himself, but it's not going to cost him. He's going to beat Bocchino.
Lost to a 17-year-old kid. You broke the chatter, Bocchino.
This kid's got a better phone than me, and he doesn't know how to add drop.
Oh, great.
But actually, I just went over it with him. And
Dude, it's plus, minus, B. It's fucking Generation Z, man. These kids are born with computers in their fucking womb.
Speaking of that, Paint, Riz texted me Sunday morning, and I was so upset that it was going to be an issue, but it's not. It's like, I don't think it's going to be. But he texted me all these lineup, he was, do these lineup moves. And I had it all set up, but I guess I didn't hit submit. And I've changed it now. But, I mean, I'm sure Kramer would have been pissed had he lost. Because he, put in...
You know what? He could text you, but you gotta understand that,
Well, my phone, I could forward all that to my email, and it would show you when Riz's, text me, But still,
I was wondering why he was picking up the commissioner controls last night, too.
Dude, I was like, oh, but even last night, I'm like, all right, this isn't going to make a difference. Even with Josh Freeman's 35 points, I had to put him into the lineup. Who did I had to claim Lance Ball and bench Donald Brown. Donald Brown and Matt Flynn were in his lineup where he wanted to pick up a running back, and he told me to pick up, either one of them, whatever Monday night running back was available, and obviously to put in Freeman. But I'm glad, it's not going to make a difference. He's going to lose to Kramer. Kramer's putting up. He might break my record. Well, actually, I think somebody actually outscored my 215. But obviously, glad it did make a difference. But I think you had something like that in your league once or twice.
What's that? I can recalculate standings.
Well,
you there?
Yeah. I'm trying to think.
Speaking of my league, it's 15 right now. Dating back to last year. And I'm breaking 200 every fucking time.
It's funny. History just...
I'm hurting people.
History... I bring my best against you, dude. My team just somehow knows when we're playing the Puffin Painters.
You only lost to the closest one yet. 7 points. That's sad. The league should be fucking embarrassed about that. Okie dokie gave me a run.
No, I'm not, Payne, because I lost this week because of lineup changes. And, You
should have beat them. That was your week to win. You should have beat them. You let one slip away. You let one slip away, man.
I think I could be 2-4 and in it this year. Now I need to figure out a way to get my draft picks back.
I hear that, man.
I think this is the week that I trade Sean Green to try to get my number 1 back.
I pretty much have tonight. I've won it, pretty much.
Oh, Dude,
next week
when I texted you yesterday, you had won it. It was over. You've got it.
And I see Icky next week. He looks like he's going to go 3-3.
Well, you're not going to end his season by any stretch. He's a playoff team. He's got it,
Yeah, but this is,
Although,
if I win this week.
Although, 2 of his wins have been against me.
If the Puffin Painters beat him this week, I tie the best start ever in league history. I tie the Evil Monkeys record to 7-0. I already set the second best. The original best was 5. I beat that winning this week. I win this week. I tie the Evil Monkeys record. He broke my single game scoring record last year, and I would love to break his record.
Nobody's ever gone 7-0 in your league.
Evil Monkey's the only one.
And what's
I tied this week if I beat Justin.
did he go? No, did anybody go 8-0? What's the story there?
No one ever won 8-0. 7-0 is the best start in this league. 7-0 is done by the Evil Monkeys. I mean, dude, like, to tell you the truth, there's not been many blow-up starts, man. Like, there's a couple 4-0s. Like, before that, the best one was 5-0. And since year 3, no one's gotten better than 4-0 until me this year.
I gotta figure out a way to get my draft picks back. But I certainly, obviously, you're headed back to the playoffs. I think that I can get my draft. I think I can get Sean Green back with my number 1.
What if I was to sit there and trade a running back I have that's going to be a number 1 any day and trade him to fucking Sex Panther, Kevin Willis, and fucking J.J. Watts? You know?
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, maybe I'm just not doing defense right. I mean,
Oh, now I have my offense set that I can sit there. I have stockpiled that offense. Because the Sex Panther, man, Andre Johnson, back in the day, I'd always looked to possibly trade for Andre Johnson, but he was always hanging around and competing for the last playoff spot, so I didn't want to give him a running back. But now I'm, like, pretty far ahead of him in the standings. He needs a running back. He always has. You know?
You've got your set sights on Andre Johnson.
I don't want Andre Johnson. He's old now. You know, he's not the same. Like, you know, he's still a great player, but, you know, I have receivers that are on the upside and putting up better numbers than him. I mean, you know, with Denarius Moore and Mike Williams and Cruz and Demarius Thomas.
It's time to shed weight on my team. I think maybe I can get something for Cromartie.
Ray Lewis is out for the year.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that, dude.
That's why I almost have to think
you need a cornerback?
He's like quarterback of the defense.
Well, I mean, do you need a cornerback, a secondary guy?
My secondary is all right. I cut Palomalu last week, and now Ray Lewis goes down.
Give it Cromartie for a 2014 second-round pick.
You know what? I made me think about that. That's not a bad idea.
You know, I gotta start getting some draft picks here. I'm sending the proposal now.
The draft is getting more and more important. And more importantly, the guys who are drafted on draft day, you know, I mean, this year's draft, the first round, was probably the best first round that's ever been in this league. I mean, Richardson, Luck, RG3, Justin Blackman, Josh Gordon starting to score.
I gambled and I
failed. Ballard just got to start. Brad's guy, the Tampa Bay running back, holding his job. You know, this is a hell of a draft. It's a hell of a draft.
Yeah. It was. I wish I could claim to one of those picks, but traded Trent. I think it's a move. I'm not, you know, I was not going to win a championship this year. I said it from the beginning.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You have to win it that year.
I didn't think it was going to be like this. I didn't think my first and second round pick were going to be so valuable.
Oh, yeah, now you know. Now you know.
So I gotta try to get my draft picks back, Payne. It's time to, you know, it's time to put those old guys, or, you know, get rid of those old guys, those young guys.
I honestly would not waste a draft pick on a defensive player for 2 years if I were you. I wouldn't even waste it.
Well, I need to get my hands on my pick. I need to get my number 1 overall pick back. I got to figure out how I'm going to.
I don't know if you're getting that back. You might get the first rounder. And I wouldn't draft a fucking defensive player for like the next 2 years.
Yeah, that's why another thing. Like, do I dump Fletcher Cox and Morris Claiborne? And the answer is no, because it's not about this season at this point. And you know, Morris Claiborne might go on IR, and Fletcher Cox I gotta hold on to, and it's become about how I'm gonna become competitive next year, and that's fine. This is an ongoing project.
Dow Richardson for Willis and fucking Watts. And a first round 2014 pick. And of course, I'd probably have to throw something out there. Dow Richardson. The only reason that's holding me back from that trade, proposing it, is I do not have a first round pick next year.
Ike is disgusting, dude. Ike just offered me Mark Ingram and Steven Jackson, and he wants Sean Green and Michael LaSure. Paint, that's insulting. That's insulting.
Sean Green, huh?
Sean Green and Michael LaSure for Steven Jackson, who's, done in 2 years? And Mark Ingram, Michael LaSure, much more valuable than Mark Ingram right now. And Sean Green is, believe it or not, Sean Green's more valuable than Steven Jackson. Does he not see it like this?
Yeah, Steven Jackson and Mark Ingram. I don't know if Ingram's ever going to do anything, man.
He's might.
High-profile Division I running back. Although Trent Richardson looks like he's going to do all right.
Michael LaSure has looked pretty good in his 2 or 3 games of an NFL career, whereas Mark Ingram's been around for, the better part of a couple seasons at this point.
Like some of the best rookie running backs are 6th and 7th round picks.
Well, yeah. Speaking of 2nd round running back picks, Bernard Scott out for the year.
He's a Ben Jarvis.
And that's why they're on the same team. I got to get out of that investment quick. Might have made the wrong investment. I've traded away Steven Jackson and C.J. Spiller in the last 2 years.
What happened?
I've traded away within the last year and change. Traded away Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller.
And Trent Richardson. Or the Okie Dokie, the highest scoring team in the league right now. He could go all the way with learning too. You guys were not patient enough. Not patient enough. For 2-3 years, I took a beating from the big dummies and the Emo Monkeys. They just pistol-whipped me for years. I just sat through it and just took it, and just added pieces here as they got older. Brad's back. Evil Monkeys is
Hold on, Peg. You and I've taken part in many of those getting older discussions with you for 2 years plus now. So I'm just saying, I've been a part of. We've both recognized they're getting old.
And you should have just waited 6 more months. Another month. 1 more month. That's all you had to wait. 1 more month.
Well, Trent Richardson.
He can go all the way.
Trent Richardson.
You're almost better. The best thing you can do is watch who he drops and pick him up.
Did you watch? You didn't watch the second half of the Cleveland game. You know what I mean? When Trent Richardson was not on the field. Do you know about the day that Montario Hardesty had? No.
But Trent Richardson ain't going anywhere.
Because Trent Richardson hurt his knee again. Now, it's not serious, But Montario Hardesty had one hell of a day. Now, as far as the C.J. Spiller, Fred Jackson thing goes, you know,
there's no talking yourself out of that one.
I don't
There's
wish.
No
I don't wish.
You keep falling back on Trent's knee. Okay, that's fine. So there's no.
Fred Jackson and C.J. Spiller have both spent a lot of time off the field since I traded them due to injury. You can't argue that. But I don't wish injury upon anybody, and I certainly look like the GOAT. But, you know, when you compliment a guy like Percy Harvin with Eric Decker, there's something there. And I had a lot invested in Bernard Scott. He's been on my team for a long time, and I needed Ben Jarvis Green Ellis to realize the value of that investment.
But most importantly, man, another coming down to earth. How about Blue Line Capital coming down to earth? 3-3. And I know it stings because he lost to Aiken. Heated divisional rival and ruled the division.
And Blue Line
Capital went from 3-0 to 3-3.
And Blue Line Capital is scoring a lot of points this year, but they all are. My division is scoring a lot of points. Well, you guys are all scoring a lot of points, but my division is outscoring yours a little bit. You know, even I'm averaging, 188, which isn't awful. There's a lot of scoring this year.
I think the highest coming into this week, man. Touchdown Hustle. He's highest this week coming in.
Well, you know that though, Paint.
He was 2-3. That was my point. He was 2-3. When I beat him, it was like 247, 235. It was the highest scoring game. It just felt, the Bears' defense getting 2 touchdowns. Stole the show.
I missed out on Blair Walsh, and we'll probably be regretting that for a while. He's going to be a good kicker for a long time.
Who's that?
Blair Walsh, the kicker of the Vikings. Kickers.
All I need is a fucking kicker.
Blair Walsh is part of the reason that I'm 6-0, and sir, yes, sir.
Yeah, but I'm talking about your dynasty league.
Well, I know that, but I missed out on that. I could have had Blair Walsh. I held on to David Akers. Because he kicked a...
You gotta find points everywhere.
You gotta find points.
You gotta get 12 points up a week. And you have to really fit performance-based games.
I don't know where you guys and some of your...
My team defenses have lights out and alternated the Giants and Bears correctly all year. It is just disgusting. I had the Giants beat against Carolina and the Giants beat yesterday. The Bears beat against Jacksonville and Dallas. I haven't missed on that lineup submission from team defense. I did it maybe by a couple points, but seriously, I've hit them all on their big weeks. Ray Lewis, though.
Well, that's gonna hurt. I was
talking to Sarah. They got to cut him.
That's gonna hurt the. Well, I'm saying that's gonna hurt the Ravens.
They're not gonna put him on the IR. I don't think.
Well, he's on the last year of his contract, but that's gonna hurt the Ravens a lot.
On IR, he can't play in the playoffs.
Right. Well, that's probably a good idea. He always said, hurt or not, this is before this year. I don't think he's going to retire now, but that's what he said, that hurt or not, this is his last year. Now, though, that you have Haloti with injury problems. Now, I was ready to write the Steelers off for dead because I thought the Bengals were good enough. And then when I saw the Ravens injuries, but then the Bengals lost, obviously, in bad fashion. But Andy Dalton, you have to remember, Andy Dalton's a second year. The guy has played a season and 5 games or whatever in the NFL. So the guy can have a bad game. And even in his bad game, he had a good game. But, I thought the Steelers are finished. Because even when they got their guys back, they got beat by Tennessee. But I think the Steelers now are the team that is probably the best team in that division. And I think
Ravens are 5-1, 2 games ahead of them, though,
dude, the Ravens, without Ray Lewis and with injuries, I don't know how long.
They're 5-1, dude.
I don't know how, yeah, but you have Nada and
they're winning high-scoring games, dude.
Ladarius Webb looked seriously injured as well.
He's out for the season, too.
He's out for the year. That's their best cornerback.
I'm almost positive he's out for the year. I know Ray's out.
I think Ladarius is out for the year. Haloti Nada walked off the field injured yesterday. Ed Reed has been injured on and off for the better part of 3 or 4 seasons.
Be 6-6 in about a month and a half, man.
Another guy Jimmy Klein traded away about a year or change ago, Ed Reed. But he's been injured. He's been injured for the better part of a couple of years. The defense just did. If Haloti and didn't Terrell Suggs miss the last couple of games?
He's been out. He's not coming back till week 8 early.
I'm telling you, this team's about to get smacked. They don't have anybody on defense, and they just lost their captain. You know, they're worse off than the New York Yankees, and that's the truth.
Let's say, man, they've been drafting young. It's gonna be a project now. They're different now. There's gonna be someone in charge. If everyone can click,
it's gonna be a project. Rex Ryan isn't there anymore, my friend. All right, and I don't think that John Harbaugh. Ray Lewis was half the coaching on that team. And yeah, he's going to be on the sideline, but he's not on the field. And he's got a loud voice, but especially on the road, he's not going to be able to coach that defense from the sidelines. And when you have Nada, Ladarius Webb, and Terrell Suggs with injury problems, and I'm sure they're not the only...
Honestly, for the last few years, they've drafted some great defenders.
Well, we're about to find out who they are, aren't we? We're going to have to find out who they are.
Which Alabama linebacker they get? New England they got together. One got Hightower and one got McCoy.
The Hightower's on the Patriots.
Okay. Which is the one they got?
You have my... You've got me there.
And who's the other one? He's badass. Come on, he's on the Ravens.
You've got me there. I'm drawing a blank right now because... The one thing I'm thinking about is how bad their division is. And that's the only thing they may be able to take advantage of because they're clearly a better team than Jacksonville. I think the Jets proved to you that the Colts are not very good. And Tennessee... Denver. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're probably they're probably 3-2 or 2-3. Denver's probably an 8-18. They don't have... I don't think they're very well coached. They have a lot of talent. Elvis Dumerville and Robert Ayers and Champ Bailey and, you know, they've got a lot of other names in that defense that I can't think of right now. They're a very talented defense. They proved that to you last year. Not many players have left the team. And Peyton Manning coaches the offense. Yet they're not, you know, they're not dominating. Right? They had a lot of trouble last week in New England. But they've looked good at times. Peyton Manning really probably hasn't gotten the speed of the offense yet.
And they look great and they look awful.
The offense, I think, is good.
The offense doesn't set the tone. They don't start playing well till they're behind.
Well, McGahee basically cost him the game last week with a very bad drop.
Yeah, but they're coming from behind. They don't set the... Every game
they might not have been coming from behind last week if McGahee didn't fumble. Well, I think his fumble was in the comeback with the drop. They might not have been...
I don't believe what just happened to them, man. San Diego fumbled, and San Diego recovered their own fumble.
Hopefully it was Malcolm Floyd so I can get some points in your league.
No, it was Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown. Someone's starting them, too. I think Evil Monkey's starting them. Evil Monkey's got 2 points. By the way, the Evil Monkey stole one. He had 3 guys on a bye week in his starting lineup. Like special teams and his tight end, Jimmy Graham.
Really?
He had 3 major positions on a bye week. And even told me like 2 weeks ago.
That's bold. That's as bold as a Puffin Painter kind of move. That's a kind of move that Jimmy Klein can't even afford to think about.
And he goes, I'm going to lose this week. I won by weeks, you know.
I've said that before, but not in your league.
Oh, look at Denver D for the score.
Don't tell me these things. I'm not watching. I haven't started watching the game yet.
But, yeah, dude, but he won. He won convincingly. He's got the high of the week. With 3 positions out.
Well,
to go 3-3. I remind them he's still 3 games out of first place. So, you know, even though it's a great
well,
game,
just get in.
Ground.
No, you do a bye week.
He didn't gain any ground on the Puffin Painters. That's a great win, Jeff, but you know what? You're still 3 games out.
Puffin Painters has guaranteed himself a playoff spot.
Not yet.
Oh, yes. When we get there. At 6-0, you're gonna make it.
I want 7-0. I want 7-0. I want to tie the record. I want to do it. I want to see how long this streak can last.
At 11:31, you lead. Now you're second in the league in points. To everybody's touched by an uncle. He could go all the way as a team that everybody loves. And he's on a 1060. 1163 by touched by an uncle. Yeah, okie dokie, leading the league in points.
He is. He really is, man.
So he's obviously making the correct lineup moves, too.
You know, he said he's cost himself a deal. He would even have more points if he said his lineup right to win.
Well, one thing I said is that, you know, if I'm trading stuff away, at least I'm only building up one team, you know. As much damage as he could inflict upon the Klein, that's as much damage that he can inflict upon the rest of the league. Hopefully make the Klein a contender. You know, all I got to do is steal 1 or 2. My team is not a devastating attack, but with Cam Newton, you have the ability to steal 1. And Percy Harvin, you know, you have ability to steal 1. But I do.
You got a quarterback controversy already, man.
Nah, Cam Newton is the guy. You know, you got to play Newton. At this point for me, at 0-6, I'm not trying to save my season here.
I think he's suffering a sophomore jinx.
Well, Andy Dalton and Christian Ponder, ironically, are all sophomores. And I'm not going to start to play Alex Smith. I'm cutting Alex Smith.
They're not suffering the jinx, Dalton.
Well, I'm about to part ways with Alex Smith. He's not the future of my franchise. Christian Ponder is probably not. But Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but they're all good, man. Those 2 other ones are better.
Andy Dalton
Alex Smith.
Andy Dalton is something. This guy's finding A.J. Green. When A.J. Green is...
Christian Ponder's leading a 4-2 team right now.
Well, that was a bad loss yesterday, and maybe not all Ponder's fault. The defense didn't really show up. Minnesota, I think, is playing Tampa this week. Who, you know, everybody thought, well, they were the worst passing defense in the league, and you know, then they go up and they had a pretty good week, and they win. Let's see, no, the Vikings are playing Arizona, so this wouldn't really be the week. I know it's at home, but you wouldn't go and play basically most people are going to advise you against any Viking offensive guys this week, maybe outside of Percy Harvin. Everybody's starting to agree that Percy Harvin is the number 1 guy in fantasy and regular football alike. The guy can only get in the end zone a few times. He's got 3 touchdowns this year, 1 receiving, 1 rushing, and 1 returning the kickoff.
Yeah, but he can get him in all 3 cases. It's kind of like that turn on a gun in a 5-week period.
The draft pick that upset you might end up being, you know, the draft pick of the best. He might have a 5-year stretch where he's the best fantasy player in football. It's possible. Really, it's possible. The guy plays every position: receiver,
No.
running back, fullback, punt returner, kick returner.
That's the thing. He gets all the yards.
The guy's got 400.
You need more though. You need 0-6. You need more. Marvin's been there forever, man. I hear his rumblings in the locker room.
But here's the thing, Paint. He has 49 receptions, and this is my league where I give points just like you, and I give a little more, I think, for return yards. But he has 102 points in my league. A.J. Green has 111. So, as great as the 445 return yards are, that simply barely makes up the gap for the fact that he doesn't have 6 touchdowns, that he has 1, and A.J. Green has 6. Now, he has 3 total. But, I give points for return yards, but Percy Harvin really should be the number 1 guy in fantasy. And, Eli Manning's at 156 and Percy Harvin's at 102. Now, if Percy had 9 touchdowns.
Well, RG3, man, legs, and he has more rushing touchdowns than his running back Alfred Morris.
Well, now that's Bocchino's guy.
That's a bomb, man. That's like the quarterbacks that can run and throw effectively are the most lethal. That's why the Vicks and the Tebows
RG3 has 100
are lethal. They're lethal.
Listen, RG3 has 172. Matt Ryan has 172. In my league. And as I said, those are the top 2. That's who you want. RG3. RG3's doing the Cam Newton thing. That's exactly what he's doing. So in your league, I definitely wouldn't go dependent on RG3 next season. In your league.
I'll wait. I'll see. I think he is. I think he's exceptional, man.
Yeah, that's what we were saying about Cam Newton up until a month ago.
He just suffering the sophomore jinx. It happens.
Cam Newton is a much bigger.
I think RG3 was definitely more of a throw quarterback first than Cam was, although Cam is a throw first.
I think Cam. It's obviously I'm gonna. Cam looks like a quarterback. RG3 looks like
Elway.
He looks like Cordell Stewart. He's a small little guy.
Yeah, he can make those.
Cam Newton is bigger than a Ben Roethlisberger.
The back of his foot up to the opposite side of the field and hit the spot, like on the run, dude. He is. Cam's awesome, don't get me wrong. But RG3.
People were saying this about Dante Culpepper, who is twice the size of RG3. I'm just saying, it's Cam Newton a year ago took the world by storm. With RG3 on that 70-yard run last night that beat the Vikings. If the Vikings stopped the Redskins on 3rd down there, the Vikings were going to win the game. But RG...
He is unbelievable.
That one did not feel good. And Bocchino's team with Matt Ryan and RG3 and Julio Jones and Frank Gore and Marshawn Lynch and Tony Gonzalez and Mendenhall and Amendola, Steve Smith, the real Steve Smith, and even Tim Tebow. I mean, Bocchino's team probably is something to be feared.
Yes, definitely are. Right now, 15 in a row. I got Icky next.
Paint, I'm right with you. I'm right with you, Paint.
I'm going straight to it.
Week 8, right?
Week 7. I haven't lost since week 8 last year. And you have a streak going, too.
No, that's what I'm saying. I think it's the same time. I'll tell you, I lost last year. I lost week 8 against Whalen when I didn't have one single starting quarterback.
My last loss was week 7 of last year. It started since week 8. Yours started since week 9.
And I only lost twice last year, bear in mind.
That is unbelievable.
I had a great team. It was Aaron Rodgers.
Format with 10 teams, so the teams are even more packed and stacked because there's 2 less owners.
Right, in your league, which would encourage more parity with less owners.
Jones Drew, old guys.
Victor Cruz, waiver pickup.
Well, big time clutch pickups, man.
And I was sitting here bragging about Dennis Pitta, and he ain't even shown up since I opened my mouth. You don't open your mouth.
Who hasn't showed up?
Dennis Pitta, since I bragged about him on the webcast.
But that's the fucking Baltimore tight end. It switches every week. There's Dixon or him. Dixon, some weeks you're like, oh my God, and there's not. And Pitta.
It's not that way with Martellus Bennett.
I started him, but you can't have a big team when I have a tight end when Cherry Cook's on a bye.
I'm trying not to get depressed about my season.
Alabama, Tennessee. Oh, yeah. Back in it. Next 2 days.
It's about getting ready for next year, dude. I'm going to get ready for next year. I'm going to get my draft picks back, and I'm going to get ready for next year.
And you have to buckle down and start doing nothing but just searching and looking at everybody. I've been looking for Ray Lewis to replace him for the last hour.
I think I made the right move. I got the quarterback I wanted. When you start a franchise paint, Andrew Luck probably.
You need running back for fantasy football. You need running back.
And you know what though? And Trent, well, I don't want that damn injury-laden running back. Darn it, I don't need it. All right. With the ability to start 2 running backs, to have somebody like what Justin has, I don't know why he doesn't do it, but just start Foster and Tate. It's going to cost you some weeks, but it'll get you to the playoffs every year, and then you just need to make the right decision in the playoffs. If you were the Vikings, you wouldn't start both Peterson and Gerhardt. That is that rare exception. The Jaguars are that exception. But you have both Jackson and Spiller. Start them both. That's what you do. Gore and, Kendall, what is it?
No way.
Kendall Hunter. Gore and Hunter. Start them both.
Gore, Bradshaw, Jones, Morris, man. Kendall Hunter is just
well, yeah, but you can't put a guy. You're already sitting one, either Jones, Drew, or right. You can't be sitting both 2 of those guys. Alfred Morris and Ahmad.
You just gotta find running backs. You got your quarterbacks. You got your receivers. You should only.
Well, I've got my quarterback. All right, I never had my running backs, and Peyton Manning and Matt Schaub. That wasn't going to be the guy. I got to start with a guy. I got to, you know what I mean? And Ponder, Dalton, Newton. I've got my quarterback. One of these guys is going to work out.
You got to get running backs.
Now I got to go to the running back.
Running back.
Dwyer's a part of that plan. LeSure's a part of that plan. Sean Green.
You can use more, man. One of them gets injured, you're done. You need
I'm already done. I'm 0-6. I can now bury people and look for. I gotta get some draft picks back. Sean Green's worthy of a draft pick. I think Sean Green's worthy of a 1.
Sean Green for a pick. I would just add on to the running backs you have.
How are you going to do that? With what draft picks?
You don't have to. You can pick them up with waivers. Just search around. They're out there. Who knows when they'll come, but
pick up the DeLon Carters of the world.
I picked up Kevin Smith last year, and he freaking won a few games for me. Dude, get the guys who steal a few games.
See, You never have been in the mentality of rebuilding a franchise.
What are you talking about? I'm 2-7.
Stop it.
I
You
kept
won
my
it. You
core.
won a freaking championship, and
No,
you
but
haven't lost since then.
Yeah, but I was 2-7 many years ago when Brady broke his leg. I kept my core running backs and just
Yes,
added
when
around.
Brady broke
You
his
don't have
leg,
to sit
dude,
there.
stop.
You don't have to trade. You don't have to trade the core running backs you have.
When Peyton Manning,
You don't have to. You don't. You can add on.
I don't think Sean Green is a core running back.
I don't know, man. He looks good when he looks good.
So does Steven Jackson, buddy. Steven Jackson's finished.
He's just a coach that can run the ball.
You're a genius for trading Steven Jackson when you did. You're a genius, Payne. A freaking genius. Unload Steven Jackson. When you did, was genius.
I can't hear you. What?
I said to unload Steven Jackson when you did was genius.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I guess I could see what you're thinking. Yeah. You think he's out? Jackson 8 years in. I don't want to.
You have to unload people at the right time. Well,
You got to get money there. I mean, you're going to want it back to get to do. You're going to have to pick up. That's like yes, I have some workout, but I've had a lot of failures. You just keep persistent at it. I'm finally getting the receivers down. Running backs are getting easier for me. Well, dude, I'm going to get going. Let's sit there and hopefully.
yeah, man. It's good talking to you. Yeah, I'm just.
Talk soon, bro.
I'm not bumming about 0-6. I'm. This is a working project, and we're gonna win a championship. I hope I don't.
You got some. You can't.
Yeah, a lot has to be done. All right, my brother.
Bro.
Take it easy.